Welcome back.
Here we are.
Wiley.
Oh, you don't feel like coughing today?
Yeah.
No, me and Johnny arguing.
Oh, no, I'm like, we got to
Tim
show
Jackson
it
and
to
Tito Mobley are back. Let's return to the biggest story of the
Glad you didn't
day.
say something.
Kevin Durant's injury. People feared the worst as KD limped off the court last night. But ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is now reporting that Durant has a mild strain on his right calf and will be evaluated next week, adding that he could be back as soon as the Western Conference Finals. All right, before we went to break, Catino, I heard you say you've had this injury.
Twice.
How effective can Kevin Durant be in a week or two if he's able to come back from this injury? How effective can he be the rest of the playoffs?
Well, they're going to reevaluate it, right, next week. So these two last games will take up this week, right? So hopefully they win, they get the rest, whatever it is. I truthfully don't think, I mean, you saw what, after he shot the jump shot, he took a step. When he took that right step, that was a light step compared to something where he's pushing off to get to the rim. A light step compared to him jumping to block a shot, to rebound. I don't see him, you might get 50, 60% of Kevin Durant. I just don't see it. It just, to come back that fast.
Marcel, you've had this injury as well.
Numerous times. Stop counting. Calf strains and pulls. But I also had the Achilles tear as well. So I knew in the moment it wasn't an Achilles tear by the way he grabbed, but he gave all the other beats of an Achilles tear. But the grab a little too high for Achilles. So minor calf strain. For people out there who never had this, there are two muscles in the calf. It controls everything from the knee on down. So think about your foot flexion, your Achilles, your toes, your knee. Everything's going to be affected. I don't think he's going to come back anything higher than 75% because of the torque necessary to play the game of basketball on hard wood and your calf being the fatigue center.
And your mental, the mental of like, can this do it again? Because when you start to, say you recover from it, and you've done this, when you recover from it, for a minute, when you pushing it.
You're checking your gauges.
But guess what? You still feel like it's going to pop again.
Yeah.
So you're not your full self because it has to, I don't know, it has to tear it up a little bit to make it better or something like that.
Well, that's part of the rehab process.
Yeah, it's like rehab. So were you going to really push off in a real crucial game like you really want to, thinking he's going to tear it again? I just don't see that.
Well, I'm not a doctor, and I do like the definition of a mild sprain, which says that it's not as severe as what we thought and probably what he thought. It's going to be uncomfortable for him to play whenever he comes back. But what's the pain threshold in which he can play through? Now, we know how dynamic Kevin Durant is in transition. He needs that, especially on his left leg, to explode, okay? Think about it. You're a right-handed player, but you explode off your left leg,
Right.
okay? If you don't have that same explosion, it limits what you do. But the beauty of it is he's 7 foot. Okay?
Yeah.
So he still has that in-between game to be effective. That's why having an all-around game like Kevin Durant is not built on just athleticism. His skill set will still allow him to be effective. He just has to pick and choose his spots when he's back on how he attacks.
No more, it would sound to me like ISO at the top of the key, that probably wouldn't be his thing. He'd probably play a little bit more from a mid or high post.
Well, yeah, you can put him at the...
That's about it.
We can put him at the free throw line.
That's about it.
And let him go to work from there.
About
now,
it.
again, we're surmising in our mind that it's worse than what it is. We don't know until they reevaluate it, and we don't know until Kevin Durant actually gets out there and runs and says, you know what, I feel pretty good. Because it's not a tear, it's a sprain. So it's not as severe as I think we're trying to make it out to be, but it still will hamper and affect how he plays.
It could be for the next, week he rests and it's okay. Like a really minor one where it's like, oh, wow, let me just relax a little bit. Because Marcellus says something very interesting. Through that Clippers series, he exerted a lot of energy. And that team is is super physical. So from 40-something here, 30-something there, 40-something here, that's a lot. And it shows.
You face P.J. Tucker in this one.
Exactly.
And let me give you two layers that why all that started to tax him. The fatigue center, they call it the calf, because if you've ever cramped, they always say, well, it's going to start more than likely in your calf. And if it starts in your calf, that means you're generally fatigued. So anytime you get one in your quad, your hamstring, okay, there's something of exertion there. When you get it in your calf, that means, oh, brother, what you've been doing the last month or so. And so that's one. The other layer is when he comes back, whatever level that is, there's a trust issue with the sixth gear that you had before.
Right.
With the calf especially.
Yep.
So what you do, you start running flat-footed because you don't want to point and flex. So when you're flat-footed, what happens? You're not going to do the explosive things. So, yeah, put him at the post wherever. He's just going to shoot.
But even if you put him at the post, you know who you're dealing with? You're dealing with P.J. Tucker. Yeah. He's thick like him.
Yeah.
So guess what? We're post guys. When you sit there and try to lean on somebody, you're using your hammies and your calves to keep your balance. And I mean,
Good point.
He's thin as a bed sheet.
Okay, here's the other thing I do like, though, about this news. I think it gives Golden State hope. And,
To get through. We got to get through.
If we get through, this guy will be back. And the other thing they can think about is, like, because of Portland and Denver, maybe we don't need him in the Western Conference. And the real hope is he's back for the Western Conference Finals. So this keeps hope alive and may affect their desperate, like...
I like that.
Doesn't that poke
like
at
that.
what we just said? Well, when we saw the energy surge and the freedom of these guys, and now you're saying it's keeping hope? Is it hope, or is it like, maybe we hope we can do this by ourselves?
Woo, she out the house.
Yeah. Come on, Whitlock. We got to agree these segments.
Okay, look. I'm going to agree. It's like,
which one?
It's like, look, you can be happy she's out of the house for now. But she can be so bad, you want her back in the house.
That Wednesday night.
When you really need her. And so when Giannis comes to town, and there's something called the Greek Freak that comes to town, you need your dragon. It's just like Game of Thrones. You gotta have dragon versus dragon. And so, to me, like Steph and Clay and Draymond, if they carry them in this series in the Western Conference, that's enough.
Good point. They get their shine back.
Yeah.
We're all good again.
And here comes our baby dragon.
Because then that's 2 weeks. What's that, 2 weeks down the line?
It's funny how the schedule plays out, too, that you meet Houston now because they fell down. Because it'd be a different conversation if he got hurt. Let's say they're playing against Denver. And they have to play Houston in the Western Conference Finals. But if they can get through this, and whoever that next matchup is, to your point, they'll have a lot of confidence going in that if KD is not as healthy, that they can still get through that. Now, the only challenge is if they play Denver, Denver has home court advantage, so you would have to get one in Denver.
But what about the karmic turn? Brian Windhorst used that term, so I give him credit. Karmic turn. After a game 5, now you're down 3-2, and their star gets hurt. This is exactly the flip of last year. With
the karma,
Yeah, so is that going to work out? Is it going to work out in Houston's favor?
But the beauty of it is you got Clay and Steph. When CP3 went down, you had James and Eric Gordon. You know what I'm saying? And that's not taking anything from Eric, but they were more role players.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
That's a little different twist on the subject right there.
All right, coming up, the Celtics just got run out of the playoffs, and now they have a big decision to make about Kyrie Irving. We'll discuss. Next!